Fact check. I talked about source.
Own it. Own it. It's been 7 weeks since I've talked about Aaron Rodgers facing off against anyone other than his doctors. Aaron Rodgers returns to his happy place right under center as the Packers face the Carolina Panthers this weekend. In his absence, the team went 3-4. They want a shot at the postseason. They need to win their next 3 games. No pressure, Aaron Rodgers. Here he is on why he thinks the Packers can indeed run the table.
Because we've done it before. We did it last year. We were 4-6, and a lot of people counted us out. I saw something, that we have 750 to 1 odds to make the playoffs. We've never shied away from those type of circumstances, and we're not going to again. I feel confident I'll be able to go out there and play the way I've always played, but I've been off for 7 games and been out for a while. So it's going to take getting out there, getting that first pass in, that first hit, and then I'll probably settle in.
If you could pick an opponent for Aaron Rodgers' first game back, I don't think anybody would pick the Carolina Panthers with that defense. CC, how does Aaron Rodgers match up against the Panthers' defense?
This is going to be interesting because last week Carolina's defense, they played well enough to get the win against Minnesota. Started the game missing a couple linemen. Eventually during the game got another guy hurt. They were missing 3 of their starters. Minnesota made a comeback at the end, came up a little bit short. Aaron Rodgers, in his circumstance with Green Bay, are very similar. Offensive line, injuries. Minnesota did have a running game going into it. Minnesota did have your boy, Case Keenum. He was on fire going into that game and also almost led them to a comeback. So there's some similarities. This is a very good defense led by Luke Kuechly. Why? Because he's a tackling machine, and also he sets up the defense and communicates to the rest of the players that they play so much better with him. We've talked about Sean Lee missing. We've talked about Ryan Shazier, what Pittsburgh's going to miss without him. Luke Kuechly, him and Bobby Wagner, best linebackers in the game. So Aaron, just don't force the ball. Also, Aaron's got to let the game come to him. You watch those highlights of Aaron. You know what looked good? Not Aaron, not him running, not him throwing. The wide receivers. It's amazing how different the wide receivers look with Aaron on the field. So Aaron needs the offensive line just to give him some time. I need Aaron to get through that first quarter without getting a big lick put on him in the game because he's missed 7 weeks, lack of contact. That first 15 minutes, I need him to keep him clean. Wide receivers, man, you got to make some plays for Aaron Rodgers. If you can make a couple plays early, even as great as Aaron is, it will ignite the confidence not only of Aaron, but the rest of the team. Yeah. Forget the running game. Offensive line, give him a little bit of time. And wideouts in a game like this, you have to be able to ignite the rest of the team, those big plays, so you don't have drives that are 10, 12, 14 plays, because those are harder because you're going to make mistakes. So the big plays, Aaron Rodgers, assist Aaron Rodgers, but I expect Aaron to play well.
The biggest advantage the Packers have in this game against the Panthers defense is the Panthers corners. The Panthers spent 2 draft picks on corners last year. Last year, they got rid of Josh Norman, started 2 rookies. They took a huge step back in the secondary because of that. And the idea was, we'll take 1 step back in 2016 in order to hopefully take 2 steps forward in 2017. They've taken half a step by one guy, 1 step by the other. They have been much better than they were as rookies, but they are still the weak point on that defense. They have good safeties. They have outstanding linebackers. They have a great D-line, the corners. So the wide receivers against those corners, when we know Rodgers can fit the ball into any window, that's the edge they have. CeCe's point about first quarter, keep Aaron Rodgers clean. If I'm the Panthers, maybe you think this is nuts. Man, I have my most aggressive defensive game plan I've had all year to open a game against the Packers. I'm sending blitzes. I'm doing zone blitzes. I'm sending 5 and 6 guys early and often to try to see if Rodgers is going to stand in there, to try to see how skittish is he. We know he's the best quarterback in the world. We know he's a future Hall of Famer. But we also know that this is his first live action, that in 2 months, even though he's been practicing for a few weeks, can't touch the quarterback at practice. No. This is the first time in months he has the fear of, or I don't want to call it fear, he knows he's allowed to be hit.
The unknown.
Exactly right.
Don't you think the Packers know that? Isn't that what the Packers are completely planning for, and how do they get around it?
Well, yeah, nothing you can do if you get whooped, though. I mean, if Julius Peppers puts a good move on the right or left tackle, I mean, they have good intentions, But this is something you have to watch. There's two other things I want you to watch in this game. Number one is the referees. They know Aaron Rodgers has been out 7 weeks. Now, he is the face, or one of the faces, of the National Football League. This has been a season like we've never seen as far as injuries. I mean, they're human. Watch how they call the game. I believe they're going to call this game very close. I believe the Pittsburgh game they're going to call very close, too.
When you say very close, you mean they're going
to protect
their quarterback.
I mean, they know Aaron Rodgers has been out 7 weeks, so they'll err on the side of that was a personal foul compared to clean play on. Sure. Because Aaron will be barking at the ref from the time they start the game. The other thing is Aaron Rodgers against this defense. Yeah, that's a matchup. But Aaron Rodgers against the other quarterback in Cam Newton. Cam Newton has been awful at home. You're like, what? Yes, this year at home, he's been one of the worst quarterbacks. And of all the top 5 categories, Cam Newton is one of the worst. Completion percentage, 57%. Yards per pass, one of Nick's favorite things. Yep. Under 6 yards. Touchdown interception, stellar. 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's 32nd in the league. Passing rate, 70.4, Nick. He's 33rd in
There's only 32 teams. Every single one of those categories, he's 30th or worse.
Yeah, so
at home.
I mean, I'm worried about Aaron against the defense, but also how productive does Aaron have to be early? Be patient, Aaron, because Cam hadn't played well at home. Don't try to rush it. Don't force turnovers to give them extra possessions, because Cam Newton's going to have to prove against that Green Bay defense, too, that he is going to change this trend at home.
Which is why an enormous part of the Panthers game plan has to be Cam Newton running the football.
Yes.
He's averaging more yards per carry than any time in his career. He's going to have the most rushing yards he's had since year 2. And year 1 and 2 is when he was running the ball.
Yes.
More than he's ever
He's running more this year than then.
No, he's going to have more rushing yards than any year since year 2.
Oh, since year 2.
And he's averaging more yards per carry than any year of his career. So more effectively. This is also a game where I need the Carolina offensive staff to know on their 3rd down calls, what are we doing on 4th down? You mentioned, CC, that for the Patriots, once they cross the 50, they're going for it on 4th downs. I would like to see the Panthers having the confidence when they have a 3rd and short, we can go for this on 4th down and pick it up. This is when we take our deep shot. 3rd and 1.5. This is when we try to make our big play, because typically on 3rd and short, if you're going to punt on 4th down, you're conservative, you just run the ball. But that's an opportunity when you have 8 in the box, safety comes down, big play over the top to Funchess, big play over the top to Olsen. You can only do that if you know on 3rd down what you're going to do on 4th down. So that's a key for them. Cece, you mentioned Jordy Nelson yesterday. Like, Jordy, where you been? Jordy's been waiting for Aaron to get back. In the 5 games this year with Aaron Rodgers, passes targeted to Jordy Nelson, it's a 119 rating, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. In the 7 games without Aaron Rodgers, passes targeted to Jordy, a 31 rating, 0 touchdowns, 4 picks. For context on the rating, you get a 39 rating for an incompletion. So throwing to Jordy Nelson, Brett Hundley, has been worse than throwing incompletions. So Jordy's just been, I think, hoping his guy, his safety blanket, Aaron Rodgers gets back. We'll see if Jordy reemerges this week.
All right, we'll switch it up a little bit on the other side. Coming up, what did LeBron whisper to Lonzo at the end of the game? We'll discuss next on First Things First.